Hello and welcome to another Cigar Advisor Cigar Review Panel Cigar Review. I'm Gary Korb, Executive Editor for Cigar Advisor, and it's great to see you all right there because that way I know you're not talking behind my back. Today we are going to be smoking a cigar from the Montecristo Relentless selection, which is exclusive to Famous Smoke Shop. And the cigar we'll be taking for a test drive is the Toro, the Montecristo Relentless Toro. So without further ado, let's meet our delightful panelists. It takes him an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes. Please give a warm welcome to Fred Lunt.
I take breaks.
He has no enemies, but none of his friends like him either. It's Tommy Z-Man, everybody.
Wow.
His band Sunny on the Causeway actually inspired the saying, "Stop the music!" It's John Pulo.
That's actually true. Or we want a refund.
Which was also Tommy's band.
That was the name of my band, no refund.
I think another one was Turn It Down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, as I said, we are smoking the Montecristo Relentless Toro today. It is an exclusive to Famous Smoke Shop. And let's look at the stats. This cigar is made by Plasencia Cigars in Estelí, Nicaragua. Our friend Nestor Plasencia had a hand in this. The dimensions are 6x50, which is nice. It's a traditional Toro. The wrapper is a Nicaraguan Habano Rosado, and you can tell by the nice red sheen, sort of a tawny appearance, that it's a Rosado. The binder is Nicaraguan Ometepe, so that gives it a little strength. Mm-hmm. And the filler is Nicaraguan Estelí, Condega, and Jalapa. So we took leaves from all three regions, actually all four, because we have Ometepe, which makes it a Nicaraguan Puro. So that's nice. So this is very different from your typical Montecristo, which are usually Dominican. And it's rolled in four sizes. We have a Magnum, a number 2 Torpedo, a Robusto, and of course the Toro, which we're smoking now. And they're presented in boxes of 10 cigars and 5 packs. The Toro you can also buy as a single. The average price per box. Tommy, what do you think the average price per box is? This is the famous average price.
Gosh, I can't really guess, Gary.
Well, I'll tell you. It's around.
I could guess, but I don't want to ruin it. Go ahead.
It's under $90 a box.
Wow.
That's the average
really?
price. Yeah.
For a box of 10?
Yeah. It's a really well-made cigar. I really like the way it has a nice silky
It's an
feel to it.
extremely well-made cigar. That's the first thing you notice.
Mm-hmm.
The draw and just the wrapper and the look and the feel. And wow.
And Tommy, you and Fred have some nice ashes going right there already.
How's that,
you
Gary?
You have some nice ashes.
Yeah, turn around, Fred.
Yeah, he worked out.
And
Tommy's
Fred,
been doing his deadlifts.
But you show off the moneymaker.
let's start with you as always. What are your impressions so far?
Wow. Here's why I am falling for this cigar. The flavors, it's medium bodied, but the flavors are just very rich and delicate. The profile is very buttery, very creamy. It's just incredibly smooth, and the construction is fantastic. I haven't had a single issue with any of these yet. Even in the 60 size, it's just been solid. That coin stack ash, burn line is razor sharp, super straight burn. The flavors are very sweet. So far, they're kind of nutty, very sweet, sort of mellow, but the strength is kind of building up a little bit on it. And a little bit of a spice to it, especially on the finish. And it's very, very warm flavors, very, very complex, and just nice and flavorful. What do you, how do you think about this? Yes,
well,
you.
You know what's interesting about a Nicaraguan cigar? Everyone thinks that they're super full-bodied, super strong. Mm-hmm. This is a classic medium-bodied cigar, and sometimes that's just so nice because it's wickedly smooth. But a lot of times when you hear medium-bodied, you don't think complex. You think it's got to be full-bodied. No, this is a very complex cigar. And why? Because of what Gary said, that there's 4 growing regions that this is from. So each of those growing regions has different characteristics. The soil, the amount of sunlight, the amount of rain that it gets, the foliage, all that stuff changes. So when you mix all 4 of those, you get this very complex blend, and only a guy like a Plasencia and guys of that, nature, who are such masters, can make something like this. Because Estelí is very dark soil, so it gives some real wicked oomph to the cigar. Ometepe is a volcanic island, and so there's so much nutrients from the soil and the ash and all that stuff. And my ash has amazing nutrients. Jalapa gives you sweet leaves, and then you've got Condega, which is a thinner leaf. And I tell you, when you put those 4 together, this thing is A very, very nice cigar. It's very pleasant to smoke.
You know, Fred had mentioned warm flavors. Tommy, you had mentioned being medium body and the
smooth.
Nicaraguan flavors, but having the edge taken off of them. Both things I would agree with. But if you really wanted to dig into the flavors, not overly complex, but interesting flavors.
Yes.
This is something that Gary and I talked about when we were smoking some of the base samples. There's like a subtle tangy sweetness that I'm sensing, and that warmth comes from some kind of exotic dry spice. I don't know if it's cinnamon. I don't know if it's nutmeg.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are very exotic to
I
me.
actually was trying to identify that
couldn't put my
myself.
finger on it.
Neither could
There's
I.
a sweetness and a sweet spice to it, but
Yeah.
I'm like, what is it?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very nice.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is
So,
nice. It's
and the
pleasant.
rips of smoke are very pleasant, like you said, pretty creamy, kind of like dried herbs and that kind of sensation.
I could take that a bit.
But like Tommy said, right down the middle, medium.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's nice, isn't it? Sometimes
It
not to
is.
have something
No, it
that
is.
could grow hair on a pair of catcher's pads.
Well,
You
especially
don't
when you
always
see
need something like
especially
that.
when you see it's got a Nicaraguan Habano wrapper, but it's like Gary said, it's a Rosado. I think
Gorgeous.
it's
I
more,
love Rosado wrapper.
I think it's more along the lines
Beautiful.
of kind of like a gingerbread color.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, I would be so
see that.
bold as to call this a fine brunette.
Minus the
Really?
gumdrop buttons, I'm sure.
Instead of a dumb blonde.
I was
well.
getting more of a, I taste like kind of like, I said like graham cracker, because it's very
Yeah.
toasty, and there is that sweet, some sweet spice in there, and
You're right.
and then some, and I'm getting, there's some cedar I'm getting, and I got that, especially at the beginning, I got this like, I got a note of vanilla caramel.
Yeah,
I just
Yeah.
love caramel,
Yeah.
but I am getting that tangy
felt that
thing
too.
that you talked about now.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
had
get
it
it
at
on
the
the other
beginning
one.
and then it went away.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's that tangy kind of, not citrusy.
No, it's just
Like zest almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just tangy.
Yeah. All right, you're a big aroma guy, so tell me
Yeah.
as far as aroma, what do you sense in there? Because it's as cigars go, it's kind of a room pleaser.
Yeah, it's very sweet. Yeah, I think it's I like when the cigar smells really good too, and other people like it too, especially if they're not smoking. So I'm just getting like a nice sweetness out of the cigar. It is medium bodied, that's for sure, and it's just very creamy, and which I also like. It's really hitting on all the points that I like in a cigar so far, which is it's a little sweet, it's toasty, the aroma's sweet. It's not too full. It's creamy. It's full flavored. You can have medium-bodied cigar, but they can be very full flavored.
Yeah,
I think that's what
that's-
Tommy
that's
was
what
getting
I
at
said,
too a
yeah.
little bit.
Oh, some of my favorite cigars are that medium-bodied range, but they just hit the exact profile of notes that I just love to hit all day long. Certain things from HVC or from Illusione, they just have like just the right amount of body, but the flavor and the complexity just hit you in an exact way that you just get to enjoy it without having to feel that like oomph in your stomach
Exactly.
the whole time.
Well, I
and
think
that's
that's
exactly what you're getting out of this.
That's like what John was saying
Yeah.
about the sweet spice, and we're trying to identify it. I think that's a result of the mix of the four tobaccos that
Oh, yeah.
created
Of course, yeah.
this flavor profile that is very different and very interesting. And while we can't exactly identify what it is, we know it's got a sweet spiciness to it, and it's very, very pleasant taste.
Yeah.
I'm just having this straight up with some seltzer, but I think this would go great with coffee. This must be
goes
really
with
It does
fantastic.
go great.
It does.
It goes
because of the
great with
coffee.
I will testify.
I will
You're
see if
under oath to that.
I see if Sasquatch agrees with the coffee. Yeah.
Dive in, young man. Dive in.
So there he is.
Yes.
Shouldn't he? Will he appear blurry on camera? Is that?
I don't
Is
know,
that how
but-
it works?
I don't know.
Steve agreed to make
we
an
blur
appearance
him?
today in
But I
his
tell you, this would,
diminutive size.
I'll tell you, you talk about pairing. I think this would go phenomenal with a Flor de Caña rum, Nicaraguan rum. So you got Nicaragua all the way across. Like you have the
You could-
rum as well as
To
the
be fair, you
cigar.
could pair that with wallpaper. It'd probably be pretty good.
And it's very good rum too. So
He's probably true. Well, I don't disagree. I think he's right. Let's talk briefly about construction, because this is Montecristo after
Yeah.
all, so there is a high expectation. Fred,
Absolutely.
you had already said that it was burning for you like a champ. You got
Oh,
an
yeah.
inch plus long ash. I've had a decent burn line, but of course I've been neglecting it, so I had to give it a little touch up.
Of course you did.
But Tommy, what do you say construction?
Oh, construction is excellent on this. It really is. I mean, the draw is as smooth as it can get, and the ash is perfect. But just looking at the cigar, You know when you have a really nice looking cigar and you just kind of like to look at it?
Yeah.
Like I notice guys who do that are like Jose Blanco, Rafael Nadal, and they look at their cigar and it's like I find myself looking at this because it's beautiful. Very, very, much like you, Gary, it's very beautiful.
It's nice.
Aw.
Oh, thank you.
Part of that is
Jesus
because think about it. If this is coming from Plasencia, he has access to a wealth
Yeah.
of tobacco.
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
The best in the world. I mean, you look at some of the other things that he makes, right? Even under his own name, Plasencia Almafuerte,
Oh my gosh.
Prosecco, and even down to the more affordable everyday cigars
Yeah.
that you see, they're still being made with very good tobacco. And like I said, I love the color of this cigar.
Yeah.
Nice velvety finish as opposed to super oily.
Yep.
Just a good taste in Habano.
Mm-hmm.
There's some unique stuff going on in here.
It's a lot of unique
But like I said,
Yeah.
but that's the
It's
complexity.
very good smoke.
Stuff I can't almost, like I said, I can't almost exactly identify it, but it's so pleasant, like
There's-
these flavors.
I don't know if anybody else has gotten like a little bit of a floral taste to it. Just very light, very delicate, but it just kind of sits on the tongue, especially after like a puff.
Do you retrohale it?
Not yet, but I have done a retrohale.
You'll find more of that in there.
On the
I just did, yeah.
on the sample I retrohaled, I got a lot of like a peppery spice, kind of like a refined white pepper
Yeah.
with a lot of cedar, a lot of coffee, and a little bit of that citrus tang like we're talking about before, kind of like lemon almost,
Okay.
but not. You can't quite get like a full picture of what it is. It could be
Orange
could go either way.
Right.
I think it's mango.
Well,
Oh yeah,
mango.
No, I just like saying
your
mango.
mango.
I'll make a comment
Mango.
here. You know, a lot of times when
could
we
be, I don't know.
when we write reviews or talk about reviews, you know, there are people who say to us, "Listen, guys, how do you taste all that stuff?" Because we are throwing a lot of flavor type profiles
Yeah.
around. It's our individual, senses telling us what we taste, what it reminds us of, what smells and olfactory stuff it reminds us of. So that's why it's a little different for everybody. We're just giving our opinions and to see.
Tastes are always subjective.
Yeah,
I was
but-
going to say, my retrohale experience completely different than Fred's. I get more of that floral, that sharp spice at least is the same in there, but mine's more of a firewood and floral kind of sensation.
Well, I think we
that's
all agree on the core flavors. Basically,
Yeah.
that it's creamy, it's a little nutty, it's got a little tang,
Yeah.
it's kind of spicy sweet, So that's good. But yeah, then there are always going to be individual flavors that you're going to pick up that someone else is not going to pick up. Like Fred was talking about the tanginess when we were smoking the base sample. I didn't get that, but I'm getting more of that today. So again, it's usually like it could be the time of day we're smoking. It could be just the cigar, the way it's rolled. Sometimes the way they're rolled, they the way the tobacco flows through the cigar will offer different flavors. So
Well, you know what, Gary, we didn't mention? That,
What's that?
this is a revised new blend of the Relentless. And
that's
it
true.
really is, the original Relentless was an Ecuadorian Connecticut, I believe, shade wrapper. And this is a wrapper with and tobacco inside that has a lot more oomph to it, is the word. Yes. So this
Word of
is,
the day.
if you knew about the previous Relentless, this is bumped up in flavor and body and strength a lot more than the original. So it's
Dynamic.
yeah,
Yeah.
Would
it's
probably
just
be
a
the word.
much fuller flavored smoke.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. So
Final impressions?
final impressions.
Want to wrap it up in a nutshell, Fred?
Want my final impression?
Hey, I tell you, this is a good smoke. It's all right. You're a good crowd. You're okay. Ooh, I tell you.
Oh Jesus.
All right, go ahead, Fred.
Well, if you already like Montecristo, I think this is going to be something that you can easily pick up and enjoy. This is any time of the day. You can smoke this in the morning. You can smoke this after dinner, for lunch. It's because that medium body gives it that sort of versatility that you can just pick it up and go. The flavors is just very creamy, very buttery, very little spiciness, like we said. A lot of the core notes we can all get. But I think it's still enough that you can get your own subjective notes out of it and taste it for yourself and explore it, look at our flavor wheel, see what you can pick out and find. Maybe you can identify some spices in there that we couldn't figure out. Overall, this is a very excellently made cigar, and I think you're going to find a lot of consistency in this brand. So check this one out. I think this is a hit.
Check it out, brother. Check it out. You sound like the guys in Manhattan when they're walking
I
by
was
giving
totally
you
going to say
the slips for the porno movies.
No,
Check it out,
We're the
brothers. Check it
guys.
out.
We're the guys in Little Italy, but it's the guy across the street who's selling all the Asian imports.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? Tony, Little
What?
Tony, or
Little
something like
Tony.
Because you walk by and he's holding all the. Check it out, ladies. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about.
Check it out, lady. He's got like
Check it out.
15 Fendi knockoff purses on each arm.
When
like
my
a scarecrow.
When my dad
check it out,
used to
ladies.
take
Check it out. Check it out.
my brother and I when we were younger to
Inside the trench coat?
Ranger games at Madison Square Garden. So back then you remember there was a lot of unsavory folks and on the street corners and Triple X theaters,
Back
but they'd
then.
always give you, check
Yeah.
it out, brother, check it out. And my dad would be, come on, I'm with my kids. And then he'd grab one and throw it in his shirt. I'll check it out later. There was no web back then. Al Gore didn't invent that thing yet. So about this cigar. Hey, my final impressions. Oh, there's your final impression for you. I'll stop now and I'll get serious for a second, maybe two.
Thank you.
Oh, it's the cigar.
Yeah. Well, I'm finding I'm getting close to about 40% through, and this thing is changing and extreme, much like myself, extreme nuttiness going on here. Really, I'm getting wicked flavor
Yeah.
of that nutty. God, I don't know what kind of nuts. I know some of people who review will say Planters,
Cashews.
salted cashews,
Lightly
with
salted.
wasabi.
Fat-free.
No, but it is very nutty.
Fat-free cashews.
You know what? I think Fred got this one right, that you could smoke the cigar any time. It can be early in the day or an after dinner. The flavor's going to hold up. You know, if you like those wicked full-bodied Nicaraguan beasts, well, that's what you like. But if you want a little change of pace, you want to come down a bit in strength and just enjoy a really nice, smooth cigar with a lot of flavors going on. Relentless is really good. They did a really nice job on the remake of this.
So the core flavors, I'll try and knock this down to 30 seconds. The core flavors, I think, remain constant. The fringe notes are the ones that kind of come and go, which is what lends that little touch of complexity. Nice thick smoke, and relentless, even though it's all Nicaraguan, right? Not a radical departure from the Montecristo way, if you want to put that in quotes, but noticeably different than, say, the Monte White or the Monte Classic. Okay, I think this is more in line with the newer stuff that's coming from Altadis, like the exotic Romeos, like the Trinidad, right? But to your point, and both of your points about being able to smoke this early in the day or in the evening, if you smoke this in the morning with a cup of coffee, is going to set yourself up for a great day.
I hope so.
Well, I don't know how I can top that, but it's. I was going to say that if you are a newer smoker and you haven't
Beautiful,
had,
John. Beautiful.
Poetry.
I swear I got wood. That was freaking gorgeous.
yeah, you get wood a lot.
I
Anyway,
was
so
going to say, the wind blows funny in here.
The flavor profile.
I was going to say that I think that nuttiness. I actually did get some cashew out of it. I think that there is some cashew in there. But to wrap it up, I think if you're a newer cigar smoker and you haven't had a Nicaraguan puro, this is a good place to start. It's really excellently made. It's got the Montecristo name, so it's got a good reputation, and it's living up to that as far as I'm concerned. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. And again, they're available at famous-smoke.com. It's the only place you're going to be able to find it. And I don't think I can top anything else. I think, just definitely try the cigar. It's well worth it. But also try it with rum. And I think that, what John was touching on, the Romeo 505 is actually not far from this blend. It's got a lot of the same tobacco, but it's much
stronger.
more full
505?
flavor. So
Yeah.
if you've had the Romeo 505 and you want something just like, whoa, want to just
That's
kick
like
it
a
back little
toned
bit.
down version of
Yeah.
that?
So I
Yeah.
would have this in the morning and the Romeo maybe later. So that's it for the Montecristo Relentless Toro. We hope you like this review, and please follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. Don't forget about our Facebook Live show every Wednesday at 3 p.m. That's Eastern Time. What time is it Pacific Time, Tommy?
I don't know. I can't count.
Okay. But and
about
of course,
Mountain
we're
Time?
on.
Yeah,
we're on
people get pissed
Instagram.
that I don't mention Mountain Time that our
Yeah, I
show
know.
is on.
Well, that's 2 o'clock Mountain Time, I think. Oh, no, that's Central Time. So it would be 1
Let's-
o'clock
Oh, God.
Mountain Time.
We opened up a Pandora's box here.
Just watch us every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Tune in at Facebook. And then we're on Instagram and anything that is social media, we are there. So thanks again and happy smokes.